Toby is a steam tram. He looks very different from the other engines. He is square and his body is made of wood. Toby is not as strong as the other engines, but he always tries his hardest. One morning, Toby was delivering some freight cars of milk. He puffed across the island and up Gordon's Hill. Gordon's Hill was very steep. Toby puffed hard. It was a long climb. Just then, Gordon arrived at the bottom of the hill. But today the express was heavy, and Gordon had to wait for Edward to help. Soon, Edward puffed to the rescue. He buffered up behind Gordon. Edward pushed, and Gordon pulled. At last, the express train started to move. Toby had finally reached the top of the hill when Gordon puffed past. This made Toby feel very sad. That night, the Fat Controller came to see Toby. Toby was very worried. What if he wasn't useful? The next morning, Toby puffed nervously out of his shed. Toby wished he was a proper steam engine. At last, Toby arrived at the Wellsworth yard. There were lots of freight cars and they looked very heavy. That made Toby feel much better. Then he started to shunt the freight cars. He shunted coal cars for Henry and slate cars for Donald. He even shunted fruit and vegetable cars for Douglas. But then Gordon puffed past. He was pulling the express with lots of coaches. Toby watched as Gordon puffed toward the hill. Gordon puffed with all his might. But once again the express was too heavy. Gordon was stuck. Gordon's driver called the yard manager, and the yard manager came to see Toby. And he shoved off to Gordon's hill. When Gordon heard that Toby was coming, he was very cross. Toby buffered up behind Gordon. Then he pushed with all his might. Gordon didn't move. Toby was about to give up, but then he remembered what Thomas had said. Toby pushed harder and harder. Suddenly, Gordon's wheels started to move. Toby kept pushing. His engine roared, his axles aged. Gordon moved slowly up the hill. When Percy saw Toby pushing, he blew his whistle with excitement. Toby huffed and puffed and shoved, but at last he pushed Gordon right to the top of the hill. Gordon was impressed. Now his specs would run on time. Toby was tired, but he was very proud. That night, the Fat Controller came to see him. And even though Toby was a steam tram, he felt like a proper engine after all.